Did you know that about 2,000 years ago, the Roman historian Pliny discussed how the ancient Egyptians and the Romans cut rock using sand? Pliny, in his book Natural History, has been speaking about how the Romans used marble to cover the buildings, who was the first to do that, all sorts of things to do with stone cutting. And then he mentions this, which pretty much hit me like a bombshell. But whoever it was that first invented the art of thus cutting marble and so multiplying the applications of luxury, he displayed considerable ingenuity, though to little purpose. This division, talking about cutting the rocks, though apparently effected by the aid of iron, is in reality effected by sand, the saw only acting by pressing upon the sand within a very fine cleft in the stone as it is moved to and fro. The sand of Ethiopia is most highly esteemed for this purpose, for to add to the trouble that is entailed, we have to send to Ethiopia for the purpose of preparing our marble. The Indian sand is held in the next highest degree of estimation, the Ethiopian being of a softer nature, and better adapted for dividing the stone without leaving any roughness on the surface, whereas the sand from India does not leave so smooth a face upon it. Still, for polishing marble, we find it recommended to rub it with Indian sand calcined. The sand of Naxos has the same defect, also that from Coptos, generally known as Egyptian sand. The above were several varieties of sand used by the ancients in dividing marble. More recently, a sand has been discovered that is equally approved for this purpose in a certain creek of the Adriatic Sea, which is left dry at low waters only, a thing which renders it not very easy to be found. At present day, however, the fraudulent tendencies of our workers in marble have emboldened them to use any kind of river sand for this purpose, a mischief which very few employers rightly appreciate. For the coarser the sand, the wider is the division made in the stone, the greater the quantity of material consumed, and the more extensive the labor required for polishing the rough surface that is left, a result of which is that the slabs lose so much more in thickness. For giving the last polish to marble, Thebatic stone is considered well adapted. So this is very interesting. Basically, what he's saying is they use abrasive cutting to cut at least marble. Not saying this applies to any of the granite. He's only talking about marble. And remember, this is just what Pliny said. He's basically saying they make a groove with a saw, and it doesn't even need to be iron. Like people think that the iron is what's cutting it, but it's actually the sand grating underneath.